Denver's mayor defends the snow cleanup, going all Carly Simon and saying nobody does it better. Colorado's best-known prosecutor doesn't love the law, but says we did indeed find people breaking it. A next viewer wonders, if we basically ban plastic bags, how are we going to pick up all of our dogs? Shipping Denver's polar bear out of state has paid off with some polar bear bow chicka wow wow. That would be the scientific term. We only use scientific terms on Next.
Guys, we got it wrong. When we raised questions about Denver's snow removal, we were wrong. When you raised questions about Denver's snow removal, you were wrong. How do we know that now? Because Mayor Michael Hancock pronounced today that Denver does a better job cleaning snow off the streets than any other similar city. So we stand corrected, as did our Steve Steger.
Colorado. I'm not sure you'll find a city on our side that's at our size or above that will do a better job in removing snow that Denver does.
Things you don't expect to hear from the mayor a day after taking desperate measures in desperate times. This has been an interesting 24-plus hours for the city. First, sending out a spokesperson to tell us de-icer won't work on side streets.
It wouldn't be effective.
Hours later, deciding it might be effective and ordering it to be done.
We looked for the sun to help us, and the sun couldn't help us this time around.
We learned today the mayor's office pressed Public Works to do something more on Monday afternoon after complaints from the public and from council members.
The circumstances were as such where we weren't seeing as much improvement as what we would like. We wanted to try something that is separate and apart from our traditional snow plan.
Public Works Director Ulyss Cleckley says de-icer works better on streets that get more traffic. So this is really an experiment.
And that was a one-time decision. Okay, so we have a very solid snow plan, and it has worked.
But the mayor seemed to hint that the one-time decision could be part of that solid snow plan if it works.
We're going to try some things this time, and maybe it'll improve our response next time. But let's remember, this is Denver, Colorado, that has for decades been working to perfect this and to get better. And it's not a perfect science. It's just one we're going to have to keep trying to get better at every time we do this.
So Mayor Hancock compared this storm to the storm of 06-07, where streets were icy for months. The mayor says the problems following that storm prompted the city to invest in residential plows, or the baby plows, that hit the side streets. And the interesting part in all of this is Public Works really couldn't have done what it did yesterday until this week, because the baby plows don't have the equipment to put down de-icer. Only the big plows do.
Because they're babies, yeah.
And then they were so busy during the week before the storm that the Public Works Director says they wouldn't have been able to get to the side streets to put the de-icer down for a while.
When you reference the storm of 06-07, always a bad sign when a storm is referenced for multiple years.
Yes.
That's a bad sign.
Yeah, it was weeks. The streets were like we just saw for weeks. Thankfully, the sun came out today and did its thing.
The historical perspective is important. Thank you, Steve. I love the folks who are like, oh, all of Colorado's new transplants are just whiners. You know, we didn't used to complain about the snow. And that's funny because I tracked down this letter to the editors of the Rocky Mountain News in 1914 where some guy's complaining that the roads were not clear to snow, asked if he could sue county leaders for an accident. My other favorite is when I hear that in the good old days, neighbors used to shovel their sidewalks without being told by the city. I'm not certain how far you have to go back to find the good old days, but I went back to 1876 and found this Denver Daily News article mentioning a Denver alderman asking that steps be taken to compel property owners to remove snow from sidewalks, as they are now in some places in a dangerous condition. So, I mean, we can agree or disagree on how to handle snow removal, but we can't pretend like there was some magical time when nobody complained and that neighbors always just took care of each other. As long as there has been a Colorado on which for snow to fall, we have disagreed about how to clean it up. Former Governor John Hickenlooper keeps claiming credit for a gun control law that we have showed you here is very easily avoided. So even after we showed Hickenlooper video of gun stores selling magazines that hold more than 15 bullets, despite the ban he signed in 2013, again today, as he campaigns for the Democratic Senate nomination, Hickenlooper is bragging about taking on the NRA to ban those high-capacity magazines. Well, also today, our Marshall Zellinger showed that video to a popular Republican prosecutor, a guy who does not like the law and also doesn't like what we found.
Based on those videos, man, I'm not convinced that the law doesn't cover that behavior.
George Brockler is the top prosecutor in the 18th Judicial District, which includes Douglas County, where Iron Horse Armory is located.
How many rounds is this one?
That's a 30-rounder.
And Arapahoe County, where Centennial Gun Club does business.
They loophole in the wording that they did that lets us keep selling.
These are two of the gun stores we found creatively selling gun magazines that hold more than 15 rounds of ammunition, despite Colorado's ban on the sale of magazines that hold more than 15 rounds of ammunition.
As soon as we've removed the functionality of it and take the spring out, it's not a magazine.
This, it's troubling.
You seem conflicted.
I am conflicted. I mean, to me, listening to these people talk, it's clear they don't agree with or like the magazine capacity law. I am on board with them. I don't like it either. I don't agree with it either. But what I do agree with is the law. And that the law, until a Supreme Court either overturns it or until the legislature changes it, it is the law of the land that we have to abide by.
This is dangerous territory for a Republican elected leader, is it not?
It may be dangerous politically, but I don't think it's dangerous ethically or from a principle standpoint.
So now what? Having seen our video, what can or will this district's top Republican prosecutor do?
And you heard the guy use the term a couple times, loophole. If that loophole exists, then what they're doing isn't criminal. But I'm not convinced that it exists, at least the way they're describing it. And that being the case, what I don't want to do is go in, forgive the term, guns a-blazing, and start to just hook everybody up or scratch out tickets. What I'd like to do is to educate people on how I think the law is written and how I interpret that law, and see if we can't come to a common understanding that allows everybody to follow it.
Now I've been told by one prosecutor and previously two sheriffs that gun store owners will be talked to about how they sell magazines. 6 years after the law went into effect, they'll be talked to. Stay tuned. Kyle, the wild card in this story is the state Supreme Court. Early next year, we'll get a ruling on whether or not this law is unconstitutional. If it is, it's all moot. If they find it constitutional, we'll find out how that talking to went.
So we either have ineffective or ineffective and unconstitutional. That would be quite the double whammy.
One of the two.
Thank you, Marshall.
Our next question comes from a viewer named Gigi. She saw our story last night about Denver City Council looking at a plastic grocery bag fee. Gigi wants to know, if people order groceries in advance for pickup, will they have to pay the fee if the store bags them?
Yes, Gigi, you got to pay the bag man. That's how it works. Denver City Councilors say even if you pick up your groceries after ordering them online, if they're in those bags, you pay the fee. So you sent us a slew of comments about this bag fee idea this week. We understand that it's controversial. Let's just say that the public comment session wasn't popping. What exactly did they expect holding a public comment session at 1:30 p.m. on a Tuesday? Our Nusha Roy went to see if anybody else would.
Listen to that excitement over the plastic bag ordinance. Oh wait, that's the wrong door. This is the room where City Council was meeting, and is also the room where I sat by myself until a few minutes before 1:30 when the meeting started. A nice man asked if I was there for public comment. Not really. He kept going around the room. People kept shaking their heads at him, except for these two guys who represent retail groups. And a city council member encouraged them to sign up and talk about the proposal for a 10-cent fee on plastic and paper bags.
Everyone was pretty giddy about it today.
Thank you.
It resulted in a love fest over this idea as the Denver Finance and Governance Committee moved this ordinance forward, the city's biggest step yet on plastic bags.
Yes, it is.
Yes, some council members have been talking to their constituents along the way as they worked on this ordinance, but we had to ask why they would have public comment in the middle of the day.
It's a policy of ours that when we have a code change that we offer public comment at committee meetings.
They're okay with it because there's no shortage of meetings, and on the 16th the full city council will discuss a plastic bag fee in the evening.
I don't expect we're going to have different opinions at the public comment that's on a Monday night.
So today I found something in common with City Council. We were both getting questions about
How do you pick up after your dogs if you have to start paying for your plastic bags? The city council members said you shouldn't be using those grocery bags anyway. Go find biodegradable, more environmentally friendly bags. And those are the ones, Kyle, that they're saying you should use. So there's one question they were trying to get answered for people.
Thank goodness.
Got that one taken care
I thought
of.
they were going to say just use our hands. Well,
No.
that is a relief.
I know,
is
got
a
that
relief.
taken care of.
Wait till they outlaw the biodegradable bags.
Ooh.
All right. Thank you, Nusha.
There are problems being studied in Colorado that you would never imagine, like how to keep bees and elephants separate.
You really have a really effective barrier that helps the elephants and helps the people and helps the bees.
It's an international problem, but the solution could be found here. And it's a sign that something as simple as a sign may have a longer life than some technology. Next.
December's off to a nice start. Sunshine and 50 degrees today, but there's another storm on the way. Snow for the southern mountains tomorrow and a little snow for Denver Thursday morning. But hopefully we'll get one more day in with melting of snow and ice around the area before this California storm brings in a little glaze layer of ice and some light snow for the Thursday morning drive. This system is finally on the move after being cut off from the main flow for a while. And the southern mountains will see some moderate snow. There are no advisories for travel yet. And in Denver, the snow amounts will be light, but a rain-snow mix during the Thursday morning drive will certainly be something you need to kind of factor in with the bullseye for some heavier snow in the 2 to 4 inch range around Winter Park, Eldora, and Allens Park. Nice tonight, partly cloudy, 23. We'll start off kind of cold tomorrow, warm quickly. We get clouds early, sun in the afternoon. Overnight tomorrow night, a rain-snow mix, a little freezing rain and drizzle, and then some light snow Thursday morning. Systems out Thursday afternoon. Cool and dry Friday for the Parade of Lights. Beautiful Saturday. Next storm and next chance for snow, Kyle, looks to be Sunday into Monday. No accumulation with this one.
Oh, that's good news for Denver. All right, thank you, Kathy. One of the Denver Zoo's former polar bears has found love in a hopeless place. They shipped him off to Ohio because he wasn't getting the job done here. Just one mating season in Ohio, and he's a daddy. Lee is now living at the Columbus Zoo and apparently enjoying his surroundings. His new mate, Aurora, had a cub on Thanksgiving Day. Aurora's given birth to 3 litters. This is the first time that Lee, who's 20 years old, has ever had a cub. Lee's old mate, Cranberry, did not fare so well. Maybe you remember she got sent up to Alaska to try and mate with a bear named Louie. Well, Louie died. They don't think that Cranberry's pregnant right now. It is notoriously tough to tell with polar bears. We've gotten into that here before. And it's not clear if Cranberry's going to get a new mate next year. It is a sign that some signs outlive their usefulness. There once was a house phone here back in the time when people had house phones. Next viewers Martha and Gavin were on the road and spotted this at a hotel in Spirit Lake, Iowa. Thought, look at that, a sign that outlived the technology that it alerted people to. If you say a sign that makes you look twice, email it to next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag #HeyNext.
Sometimes a massive problem.
They're trampling and raiding a lot of these people's farmland. So people have kind of a negative attitude towards elephants in these areas.
Only needs a small fix. International farmers are counting on Colorado to find it. Next.
It is so easy to get caught up in our own little worlds, and you never know what interesting things your neighbor might be up to. For instance, right up the road at the Butterfly Pavilion, they are working on an international project trying to teach farmers in Nepal and Tanzania how to chase away elephants using bee fences.
We do have thousands of butterflies flying around us right now, but we are much more than butterflies. On this Giving Tuesday, Butterfly Pavilion is encouraging folks to donate to a project called bee fencing. Bee fencing helps people be safe from elephants and elephants be safe from people, using honeybees as a deterrent from elephants coming in. Hi, I'm Mario from Butterfly Pavilion, and I'm here in Nepal working on a bee fencing project. Late last year, we were in Nepal working on this project. And then just this year, we were able to go to Tanzania and continue that work in Tanzania. So you lift straight up. So in a lot of these areas, people are farming right in their own backyard in very small plots. See if you can find the queen. You saw the queen on the last one, right? So what a bee fence does, you take a dozen or so hives and you actually put them on posts and surround a farm with those beehives because the farms are small enough to be surrounded. And then these beehives are connected by a tripwire. And if the elephant tries to come into that farm, it disturbs the beehive via the tripwire, shakes the hive up a little bit, and then the bees emerge from the hive to protect themselves. And it stings the elephant, and then the elephants kind of turn tail and run away and are not going to be coming into those farms to exploit the resources that the humans are growing. It's actually a win-win. You're able to sell honey from those hives that are protecting your farmland, but then you're able to sell those vegetables that weren't eaten by the elephants as well. So you actually come out on top. You really have a really effective barrier that helps the elephants and helps the people and helps the bees.
Never in a million years would have guessed that. If you are watching this, you survived any Thanksgiving fails at your house, probably with a great story to tell for years. And it's never too early to start sharing stories of Christmas traditions that have gone off the rails at your place. That's next. You try to decorate the house perfectly for Christmas, but it's the thought that counts. So if the roof collapses, it's really not that big of a deal. I should specify, we're talking about gingerbread houses. Next viewer named Kim is one of the first of the year to send in a Christmas fail. It appears to be somewhat of a structural issue with a gingerbread house. She said that she and her daughter just kind of propped it up against the side, and that's nice. I like that. I like that. It's artistic. Just as delicious anyway. And just as delicious as the Christmas, Hanukkah, and New Year's fails that you'll be sharing with us all this month. Use the hashtag HeyNext or email us next@9news.com. A few of you wrote in tonight asking where Denver's 10-cent bag fee would go. 4 cents of it goes back to the city to run the program collecting the money. 6 cents goes to marketing and education trying to keep people from buying the plastic bags in the future. So the whole operation, money in, money out, is to try and reduce the use of those plastic bags. Sandy writes in tonight to say, how come you look so pretty tonight? Pretty like a princess? See you next time.